So, what if the entire race to build one single giant AI brain was, well, a total dead end? A brand new report looking at 2026 says the future of AI isn't about one massive mind at all. It's something way more complex, and it is coming a lot sooner than you think.
All right, let me just ask you a question that sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. Could a company actually be run by just one person and, I don't know, 5 AI agents? I mean, that sounds completely ridiculous, right?
Well, guess what? It's not science fiction. According to this report, that's a serious forecast for late 2026. And the reason this is even on the table has nothing to do with making AI brains bigger. It has everything to do with completely rewiring how they work from the ground up. See, this whole one human, 5 agents idea is only possible because we're not just getting a better AI, we're getting a fundamentally different kind of AI. The entire philosophy behind how we build this stuff is changing, right now. For years, the name of the game was simple: scale. Just build one huge monolithic brain and keep feeding it more data, more power. But we've basically hit a wall with that approach. That era, it's pretty much over.
And this is the main event, the core idea of the whole report. Welcome to the systems era. The goal isn't to build one giant genius anymore. It's to build a team of specialists, an entire ecosystem of AIs that actually work together. Think less like a single brain and more like a complete operating system for intelligence.
Okay, so what does this rewired brain actually look like in practice? How does a team of AIs really get stuff done together?
Here's the absolute best way to think about it. The old way was like a single, stressed-out genius trying to do everything at once. The new way, this systems era, it's more like a C-suite. You've got a specialist for strategy, another one for finance, one for marketing. Each AI is an expert in its own little area.
And here's how that team actually handles a task. Instead of one AI doing everything, first you have a creative AI that just generates a bunch of ideas. Then a totally separate fact-checker AI comes in and verifies all the information. A third strategist AI handles the complex reasoning, and only after all of that do they combine their work to give you a final answer that is so much more trustworthy.
And this leads to one of the wildest new safety features I've ever heard of: model arbitration. Get this, you literally have different AIs debate a topic. They challenge each other's points, they argue, they go back and forth until they reach a consensus. It's like a built-in debate club for fact-checking, which is a massive leap forward for building AI we can actually trust.
So this new way of doing things isn't just making AI more reliable, it's making it way smarter and faster. But you know what? The biggest revolution here isn't the performance. It's something way more disruptive: the price. So, just how good is it getting? Look, we're not just talking about writing poems or making cool pictures anymore. These new systems are crushing tasks that require deep, multi-step reasoning. The kind of stuff that used to be only for highly skilled humans.
Okay, take coding, for instance. The SWE bench tests an AI's ability to solve real software problems from GitHub. In just 1 year, performance didn't just get a little better, it exploded by over 67%. That is a staggering jump, and it proves that AI is really starting to master the logic of complex systems.
That performance is insane, yes, but here's the plot twist. While the most powerful models are getting better and better, the actual technology to run them is getting radically cheaper and way more accessible. And that is where the real disruption kicks in. An 85% cost reduction for companies using these powerful open-weight models instead of the big, famous proprietary ones. That's not a discount. That is a revolution. This is the complete democratization of cutting-edge AI. It fundamentally changes who gets to build the future. So the really crucial thing to understand is this David versus Goliath dynamic that's happening. You have the massive, closed-source models from the big tech giants. Those are the Goliaths. But then you have these open-weight David models that are catching up in performance at an incredible pace while being so much cheaper and more customizable. This competition is what's fueling the whole fire.
So you've got smarter, more collaborative, and radically cheaper AI just flooding the market. This all leads to the one question everybody is asking: what on earth does this mean for my job? What skills are actually going to matter in just a few short years?
Well, according to employers, nearly 40% of the core skills for an average job are expected to change by 2030. Just let that sink in. In just a few years, almost half of what makes someone good at their job today will be completely different. What you're an expert in today could honestly be obsolete tomorrow. So what skills are rising to the top? I mean, sure, you've got the technical ones you'd expect, like AI and cybersecurity. But look at what else is on that list. Creative thinking, resilience, curiosity. The so-called soft skills are becoming the hard currency of this new economy. The future isn't about competing with machines at logic. It's about mastering the human art of collaborating with them.
And that brings us to the final and probably most important piece of the puzzle. With this much power comes enormous responsibility. The old Silicon Valley mantra of move fast and break things is being replaced by a much more sober question. What happens if this breaks society? We are entering an era of accountability.
The business world is finally waking up. A full 68% of leaders now say that managing AI risk is a top priority. This conversation has moved from the IT department straight to the boardroom. The initial hype is fading, and it's being replaced by a really serious, high-stakes discussion about trust and safety.
Meanwhile, governments are all scrambling to write the rulebook, and everybody has a different idea. The EU is building this fortress of strict, risk-based compliance. The US is trying to encourage innovation with more voluntary standards. And China is all about state control and security. This global regulatory battle is going to define the next decade of AI.
And this quote from the report just perfectly captures the spirit of this new era. For years, the challenge was all technical. Can we build it? Now, the challenge is ethical and societal. Should we build it? And if we do, how in the world do we make sure we can trust it?
Okay, let's boil this whole thing down to 3 key takeaways. First, think systems, not single brains. AI is becoming a team of specialists. Second, democratization. Powerful AI is getting radically cheaper and accessible to everyone. And third, the biggest challenges aren't about code anymore, they're about ethics, trust, and the human skills we're all going to need for this new world.
And that leaves us with one last thought. The systems era is basically giving AI its own operating system. So, as these complex, intelligent systems become the infrastructure of our world, what's the single most valuable human skill we can develop to thrive right alongside them? That's the question we all need to start answering.